Hi all, this is Yunus. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a Jenkins CI-CD project using Jenkinsfile, where the load build is actually going to happen in an agent or a separate server. So we will need two EC2 instances for this. We will use a T2 micro for Jenkins, and the additional agent server we will use a T2 medium EC2 instance. And once the load is built, or once the war file is ready, since the load build is going to happen in the agent, the war file will be present in the agent, and we will use that war file to create a container image on top of Tomcat basic image, and then we will use that container image to instantiate a container which will power our basic website, and we will be able to view the website. Okay, let's begin. So in this video, we are setting up the Jenkins server with an additional server or a Jenkins agent. Apart from the main Jenkins controller, we will have an agent. So we will need two EC2 instances. The first one I have already launched. It is a T2 micro Ubuntu instance. So now I have to log into this and set up Jenkins. So let me do that. Go to connect, click on SSH client, copy the connection string, and open a terminal or command prompt, and you have to move to downloads folder where you have kept your key pair, and then paste that connection string. Okay, so I'm already inside my Jenkins controller, which is a T2 micro. I'm yet to set up the agent, which will be a T2 medium, because I'll be using that for running my Tomcat container as well. Okay, now I need to set up Jenkins in this. So let me do sudo apt update -5, because we need to install a few things. So I'm updating the apt repository. Because we will have two machines, let me change the prompt here. So for that, what you can do is sudo hostname control set hostname Jenkins. So when you issue this command, then the prompt will not change. So you can exit and come back again. You can see that the prompt has changed. So what is next? Next one is I'm going to install Jenkins through a small shell script. Let me prepare that. I'll give all this code and all these steps as part of my cheat sheet. Yes, so these are the steps to install Jenkins. Okay, you can save, quit, and then you have to give execute permissions, chmod +x my Jenkins. Okay, now you are ready to execute it. So please execute that. So Jenkins is being installed. Okay, Jenkins is now ready. Now let us access Jenkins from the web page. So you can find out the IP address from EC2 console and then add port number 8080. Yes, so it is asking for your initial admin password, which was available in the terminal. Copy paste this. Yes, now install suggested plugins. This will take a minute. Okay, now you have to set up your admin user ID and password. I will enter admin for user ID and password. Again, when you are doing it in real life, you will have to give proper username and proper password. But here, because it is for training purpose, I'm using this word admin everywhere. Save and continue, save and finish. Start using Jenkins. Yes, so Jenkins is already installed. Now we can go ahead with further configuration and adding your project, etc. Now we have set up the main Jenkins server or the Jenkins controller. Now we need an agent. For that, we need a new EC2 instance, and this time I'm going to go for a T2 medium. So let me launch the instance. I will go a little fast on this. You can name it as Docker. Come down, Ubuntu, and latest AMI is fine. Come down. Instead of T2 micro, let us go for T2 medium, which will make our life easier. Key pair, you should use the same key pair which we used for the Jenkins controller. And come down. In security group, please ensure that your security group should have port number 22 and 8080 open. So I have already created one. I'm going to use it. I'm using the same security group for both controller and the agent. Come down, launch instance. So while the second instance is getting launched, we need to copy the key pair from my laptop into the Jenkins machine. Why that has to be done? Because from Jenkins we need to do SSH into the Docker, the agent. So what I will do is I will copy the key pair from my laptop into the Jenkins machine. Let me do that. Okay, I'm in the downloads folder of my laptop. From here, I have to copy the key pair file into the Jenkins machine. For that, what you can do is you go to the EC2 console again and copy the connection string. Okay, come back here, paste it. I'm not going to log in actually. So instead of SSH, I'm going to use SCP. SCP -i, then I have to specify the key pair using which I am going to get access to the Jenkins machine. Then which file I'm going to copy? I'm going to copy the same key pair file. So I'm going to repeat that. So remember here I'm specifying this as the key pair using which I am going to get access to the machine. And here I'm specifying this as the file name which I am going to copy to my Jenkins machine. So it will be copied to my Jenkins machine, and in that Jenkins machine, in which folder and what will be the name, I'm going to give that :tilde.ssh. It will be in .ssh folder. Name of the public key will be id_rsa. So just enter. So it is copied. That is good. Now I can log into the Jenkins machine again. So I have logged into the Jenkins machine. If you do ls-al.ssh, you can see that id_rsa has been copied. That is good. Now I have to change the permissions for this particular file. chmod 400, otherwise it will not work. Public keys should have limited permissions. That's why I have to give the full path. That is done. Now we have to log into the agent. So how do I log in? I can directly SSH from Jenkins machine using the IP address. So just go back to your EC2 console and select Docker and copy the public IPv4 address. Come back, just do SSH and paste. Yes. So we are able to SSH into the new machine because we have the key pair copied into .ssh folder of Jenkins server. So in this, I have to set up Docker because I'm going to build Docker image. Then I'm going to create a Docker container. That container will power my simple website. So the first requirement is I have to install Docker on this. For that, update the apt repository. Now install Java. Now install Docker. Now let's create a Docker file. This file will include instructions on how to build the new Docker container image. So it has only 2 lines. It will pull the latest Tomcat web server container image from Docker Hub, and then we will add our welcome page war file which we are going to build. This will be in the target folder. We will add that on top of Tomcat image, and that will be our resultant container image. So only 2 lines are there. Pull the latest Tomcat 9 and add our war file on top of that. Now we also need to do one more thing. We'll be using Maven for Loadbuild. So let us also install Maven on this agent server. Sudo apt install Maven -5. Okay, so the Docker setup is almost done. The next thing is we have to set up the credential for Docker slave machine, because from Jenkins, if it needs to SSH into the agent, we need to create a credential including the public key which is required to log into this machine. So let us see how that can be done. You go to Jenkins and go to manage Jenkins, and here just go to credentials, and here click on global, click on add credentials. So the type of credential is using SSH username with private key. Select that, and scope, this is okay, leave that. ID, I will call it as Docker credentials. You can give any name, that's okay. Username will be Ubuntu because both these are Ubuntu machines. And private key, enter directly. You have to copy the public key which we have stored in Jenkins machine. So just go to your terminal, exit from the Docker slave. Now you are in Jenkins. Just do cat.ssh id_rsa and just copy this entire file right from this line, this dash here, up to the last dash here. Copy it, go here, add and paste it here. Yes, that is done. Passphrase is not required, just say create. So the credential is created. We will use this credential in further setup later. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to set up this Docker slave machine as an agent for our Jenkins server. Go to manage Jenkins again. Go to nodes because we are going to create a new node for this Jenkins. Right now the basic node controller is there. Click on new node. Node name I will give it as Docker slave. Permanent agent create. Description, again you can repeat that or you can give a proper description. For now I am just copying the Docker slave here. Number of executors 1. Remote root directory will be home Ubuntu. That is the remote root directory. Labels, I am going to use this label Docker slave. Usage, use this node as much as possible, which means that whenever there is a load build, please use the agent, not the main controller. Launch method, launch agents via SSH. Then it is asking for host. For host, you need the IP address of your Docker machine. So go to controller, copy this IP address again of Docker, come back here and paste. Credentials, just now whatever we created, Docker credentials, select that. Host verification strategy, let us go for non-verifying verification strategy, otherwise first time it may create some issue. Come down, availability, keep this agent online as much as possible. That's it, save. Now here you can see there are 2 nodes. If you refresh it, yes, now both agents are ready. Now you can create a new pipeline project. For that, what you need to do, go to dashboard, new item. I'm going to give the name as build on new node. Any name you can give, and it will be a pipeline project. Select OK. Now here you can go to pipeline straight. We are going to use Jenkinsfile. So you can copy this Jenkinsfile here and I will explain what it is. So if you go up, you can see agent. We are saying please execute this in the agent with the label Docker slave. So that is a new one which we created. And after that, all these stages will be executed in the new server. And stages, first you have to clone from GitHub. I have given the GitHub URL here. So please clone my YT Jenkins repository. It is here. I will give all these in my cheat sheet. You can clone from this particular repository. Here you have the code. If you go to index.jsp, you can see the code. This is the code which we are going to use for this load build. Actually, you can create all these stages by using pipeline syntax, but I have shown that in a couple of previous videos. I'm not repeating it here. I'm just copying the script here. So first you have to clone the code from Git. I have given the URL which you can clone from. Then building stage, you have to use maven clean package. That is a command. After that, deployment. You are actually going to deploy it by creating a container image. The first line is to remove that container if it is already existing. And then we are building a container image called new node image, using the Docker file which we created in the previous step. And then we are going to create the container from that container image. That is the last line. So once that is done, we'll be able to view the web page. So just save it. Okay. Now you can click on build now. If everything is fine, you will be able to complete the load build. So it is going on. You can see cloning has completed. Build stage is going on. That is done, but the final one failed actually. So I will check what is the issue and then I will correct it and we will continue. Okay, last time it failed because there was capital letter used in the image name, new node image. There was a capital letter used. That's why it failed. So I have corrected that new node image. So just go back. And if you want to see the reason for failure, you can go to one console output, come down. And here you can see invalid argument new node image, invalid reference format, repository name must be lowercase. Okay, so I have corrected that. And then I built it once again, but I'm going to build it the third time. So you can see, yeah, cloning from GitHub build stage and deploy stage, it has completed. Now I should be able to view the web page. For that, you have to type the IP address of the second EC2 and come here. Yeah, this is the web page. Basically, this is the IP address of the agent or the Docker machine, and 8080 is the port, and this is the war file name. So when you use that, you will be able to see this particular web page. And here I'm not including the GitHub webhook. If you actually include the GitHub webhook to connect the GitHub with your Jenkins, whenever there is a code change in GitHub, it will automatically trigger the load build and this web page will change. That I have done in one of the previous videos, so I'm not showing it here to keep this video short. Okay, so please try this out at your end and please let me know the results through the comments. I'll come back with more useful videos. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you. Bye.